it's Dodie, and I'm back just to make a quick topper for the folio tutorial that I just made. It's the video before this one. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little piece of glue cardboard. I'm going to make a base. I just took some cardstock, cut it to fit just a little less than the width of my folio, and I folded it up because I'm going to make a little secret pocket. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of my favorite papers from the Tea Rose kit, and I'm just going to really quickly line or cover this piece of cardstock with this paper, and just give it a quick some background paper. I like to make them on cardstock just to give them some heft so that they aren't flimsy. And then I'm just gonna place this on here like that, and I'm gonna flatten it down. I'm gonna get rid of my cardboard after I get my gluing done. I'm gonna quickly trim up this side just real quick. But yeah, I like to make these toppers just to go on top of the folios, just to make them have a really pretty finished look, and also just to have another pocket involved in the folio. So I'm gonna fold this up. This is another thing I like to do. I like the bottoms to be finished, the edges. I don't like really raw edges of paper showing. I like to have a finished look, so I'm just gonna glue that up like that. And of course that'll probably get covered and trimmed just to make it, you know, I just want it, like I said, I just want that fold like that to have that finished look. And then I'm gonna find some paper to put on the inside here. I do have the whole stack of those papers, and let me find them. I thought I had them nearby, but let me grab them. Okay, so I have found my little stack of papers. I was gonna try to use this portion, but I realized as I cut it that it was going to be too thin. So I'm gonna use this really sweet cherub paper that comes in the Tea Rose kit. And I'm just gonna do the same thing, just quickly glue this side down, and then I'll have a nice base for my topper. And I'm gonna choose which cherubs I like the most. And I think I like this little guy over here, so I'm just gonna place it on there like that, and sort of make sure it's stuck down like that, and then I'm gonna cut it. These colors in this kit, if you use Nicola's kits, you'll find go so well with a lot of her autumn kits. You'll be able to just really go to town making a really beautiful journal if you have some of her autumn kits and you decide to use this kit as well. They would look great together. Now, I've got to figure out how I'm going to finish this pocket off, and to tell you the truth, I think I'm going to, let me see if that would work. Oh, that might work. I know it's going the wrong way, but I kind of like it. Or I could get, this rose. I love this rose so much, but I do want to, I could always print it again. I think I'm going to use part of this rose. Yeah, I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to just cut it off here. Let me see if I could use, no, that's not enough. So I need to use the middle of the envelope. So I'm just going to cut that out and use that rose. I'm just so in love with the roses in this kit. I'm kind of a rose person. I love roses. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put that on there like that. I'm gonna cover up this little lining piece that I folded up. And I'm gonna put that on there like that. And I'm gonna put the roses right in the middle and stick them down. And then I'm gonna do that thing I do where I fold down and make a nice, I actually think I could make sort of a gusset effect there, but I'm gonna just glue this down first. But this will give me a nice base with which to work with my topper. And then I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna cut these sides down and see if I can't turn them into gussets. Let's see what I can do here. So if I fold them in, there we go, like that. And the first thing I need to do is cut this down like right there so that those don't clog up the works. Okay. And then if I just glue down those edges, it won't have a gusset at the bottom, but it will give a little room to, it'll have some room at the top. Now, one thing I want to do is, I think I want to cut out a little divot there. Let me get my, I put it away because I thought I was done with it, but obviously I'm not. So I need to trim that piece off right there because it's not, I don't want it to, it won't work. I'll trim this one off right here. There we go. And then I'm going to make a little divot at the top, just like this. Hopefully I'm in the middle. If I'm not in the middle, I'll show you my trick for making it look like I started out in the middle. I don't know, I don't think I did it, so I'll show you my trick. I just go back in, I move it over just a little bit, and do it again. And then it looks like it started out in the middle. You just don't know how often I do that. I basically do that almost every time unless I mark the center. And even when I mark the center, I sometimes get off. Okay, so I'm going to just glue down these edges really quick with some art glitter glue, just to make sure the little pocket is in the back. And then we'll start. And I've already pulled the components I think I'm going to use for this journal folio topper. I do want to use the what I think Nicola intended the cover of a journal to be. It's a real pretty picture, and I'm gonna just ink all the way around this simply because I'm gonna be putting a lot of stuff on there and it might be hard to get at it when it's all said and done. So I'm just gonna go around the edges. I'm just using Vintage Photo here because it's the inkiest one I've got. I need to replenish some of my inks. Some of them are just not as bold as they used to be. They're getting dried up. So let me find the components of, here we go. So this is what I thought I would do. Now I've put that down. I had made that to be on there, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just use this, and I need to tear it down. I don't wanna use it. I wanna keep that dark edge. So I need to tear it down maybe on this side. And I'm gonna tear it. This is avocado dyed paper that I believe came from Mary at A Passion for Paper, which I love her shop. I often buy her notepads and use them in my journals because her notepads are so beautifully constructed, and and it really, it helps me to not have to, you know, go through a bunch of papers and try to collate and coordinate, and they're just beautiful. And she has a lovely shop, and I like to support her shop, and I just really love her way. I don't know, she just has such an eye for putting together the little scrappy pads. They're just so beautifully put together. She tears them perfectly. She just has that perfect touch. And then I tore this piece off, and I think it's too long, so I'm gonna tear off part of this top up here and see if that's gonna be enough. I don't think so. I think I want to tear off more here too. Oh, I like that edge though. I don't want to. Let me see if I just tear down a little. Just a little bit. Let me see. I'm probably going to end up tearing that off just because it just won't work out. Sometimes you can't keep everything you want. I try really hard if I like something to keep it there. That's sort of okay. Maybe if I flip it over, maybe that'll work. And then put the tea dyed on there, and this is a little too wide too, so I'm gonna have to go in and go up close to her sleeve. But I like it because it says journal, and I've got an idea for what I'm gonna do with that journal emblem as well. I think I'm gonna I'm gonna 3D it, I think, or 2D it, or whatever it is. 3D, 2D, whatever the D is, I'm going to do that D to it. There we go. And put that on there like that. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so now I'm going to glue some of this stuff down. I'm gonna just start with the first piece. I'm just gonna layer it up. And like I said, if this were a journal, I would be using old lace and old documents and stuff like that. But because it's a folio, I don't like to use as much old paper and old, definitely not the old lace. I'd probably use new lace, but I don't know where my new lace is. I have a lot of old lace, but I just don't want to use up my old lace because it's really so precious, and I'm just really cognizant of trying to use it in a way that it could maybe survive another century or something. But I'm really very sort of picky about how I use old laces. And then I'm gonna do this like that. Turn it up so that that edge shows, and turn this up a little like this. Okay, let's see. Put that on there. I think I need to do another level. I might have to do her fingers. Yeah, just clip them off a little. Give her a little trim. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, I could have printed her smaller. I just printed her at 75% of her original size. I thought that would be good. I didn't want her to be too small. And I think that'll work. That's nice. Okay, we'll put her on there like that. We'll just stack it all up. And I do think I have a nice piece of an old doily, and I'm saying this doily I found in a bag of things, and it has to be, it was an old doily to start with. Like, I found it in some of my mother's stuff. So I don't know how old it was, but from my perspective of things, this doily is at least 20 years old. So it's a really old doily. So I want to do this, sort of crinkle it up. And I'm going to give full credit to Heather of Ruby and Pearl for this crinkling the edges method. That's the first time I saw it used. I used to, age stuff. I've always aged stuff with scissors and glue, and I would sort of get this effect, but I didn't really hand do it like this. And I'm gonna give a hat tip to Heather of Ruby and Pearl for that. So let me go grab my little bit of old doily, and then let me tell you what I'm gonna do here. So I grabbed my little bit of old doily and I cut out another one of these. This comes from a little bit bigger size because I originally printed her out at full size, or maybe it was 90%. I can't remember, 90% or full size. Anyway, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna glue the back of this and I'm gonna put it onto some cardstock. This cardstock is from a moleskin cover, and often if I use moleskin paper when I make little mini journals for writing in my big journals, and so I end up with empty moleskin covers, and I love the cardstock they use for these moleskin covers. It's really great cardstock, and so I often use it to use for backgrounds to strengthen paper or other things. So there we go. That's that journal piece right there. And I think I want to put some brads into it. Maybe not such big ones, maybe little ones, maybe little tiny ones would be better. So let me get some, let's see, I like the bronze color. I'm gonna run out of the bronze color pretty soon. I only use that color on the gold ones. I'm gonna have black and a lot of black and silver pretty soon. There's black, let's see. Let me find bronze. Got a lot of golds. What color is that? What color is that? That's bronze. Okay. I love these little brads. I love using brads too. I really love the effect of brads. So I'm gonna punch a hole here. I'm actually gonna do this because I don't want to poke myself. I'm gonna do it here too. Do it there. And then I'm gonna put those in on the either side. There it is right there. Okay. All right. These have long stems, so you sort of have to turn them in. And I'll do it over here, like this. Okay, go in there. Okay, there you go. And there we go. And then I'm going to poke it down. There. I'm gonna put that on there like that. And I'm gonna use, I know I'm whispering, sorry. I'm gonna use some of my foam tape. I really swear by using foam tape. It really just gives everything a little lift, and it's pretty sticky, so it stays stuck for quite a while. I'm gonna put that right there on top of that journal, just to, there we go. Okay, there's that. And then I'm gonna take a bit of this old doily. I'm gonna ink it a little. And I'm going to see what it looks like stuck up under here. See if that looks good. I kind of like that sort of peeking through. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I like that. Let me see if I want another section. I might want this section here. Let's see. I might want to tear off this edge. Don't know if I like it to be so nice and neat and tidy. I tend to like my doilies to be torn. Yeah, that's much better. So I'm going to stick that down. I'm going to put it up on both sides, so when I get the doily in there, it'll just peek out like a little lace skirt. I'm gonna get up under here and push it up. That's nice. There we go. That's very pretty. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 eyelets like this. I'm gonna go grab my crocodile. Now I was thinking I'd use these 2 eyelets, but I have another idea. I have over here some, oh, maybe I don't. I thought I had something else I could use, but these would work out great. These would work great. They're probably the more sensible thing to use. And I gotta make sure that I don't go through my pocket. So I'm gonna just poke holes there and right across there so that I don't go through my, let's see if I can see them. There they are. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my crocodile and I'm going to punch my holes, which actually I could do it on this side so I don't screw up. And where did I put it? There it is. Okay, put it right there. There. Let me poke it out. It's the only thing that drives me crazy about crocodiles is the way that happens. And there. There. Okay. And then I'm going to take the eyelets and put them in and squunch them. Okay. There. That's nice. And here. Very good. There we go. And I just happened to, oh, and I have all these. Now these aren't Nicola things. Well, ooh, look what I have. I have this Morning Glory that's really pretty that I might add. This dried Morning Glory that I might add to there. Maybe I'll add it here. I want the green to show, the green of the Morning Glory. I might add it right there. That's kind of nice. I might do that. I won't do it right now. I'll add that later. And I have all of these really neat French labels. Oh, that one's really pretty. And I might add that on there too. Let's see, where could I put that? And I'll put below where I got these French labels. This is a wonderful digital kit. Can make these boxes. So let's see if this will work. Oh, it kind of looks neat there. I'm going to think about that as well as my Morning Glory. But in the meantime, I did go and make a whole bunch of ribbon that I could put through. And so I think the way I would do this is I would come up on this side and make a knot. Let me go run and get the folio because the folio is right now in my Smith & Hawken flower press getting flattened so that it will be flatter. And if you don't have you can get an inexpensive flower press with the screw sides. Otherwise, if you've got big books, it's always sort of nice to flatten things just to get them, you know, in a really nice pressed state before you send them off to people where they're going to start being opened up a lot. So let me go grab the folio. Okay, here's the flattened folio. And I'm going to try and figure out a way to do this. I'm going to cut off, well, we'll just see. I'll just cut off that much. And we'll bring it up through here and see how we do. We can tie another bow on the other side. Now, of course, we need to leave, yeah, so we're gonna need another, even though that bow looks nice on that side, I'm gonna actually need it to be more like this. It's gonna have to come and wrap around. So it'll wrap around like this, and then we could tie it on this side, like that, to tie it closed. Yeah, see, that's so pretty. It's a fun little topper. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make some ephemera to go inside of it. I'm gonna make some tags and even a little, oh, I've already started, and I could show you really quick. I started a little pad, a little scrappy do pad, which I've got to actually see if it's the right size anyway. I've got to measure it because I started it when the folio was in the Smith & Hawken thing. And I've got to decide where I'm going to put it. So let's see. I can put it here, and see, it is there. The pages are too long, so I am going to need to further tear these off. So I'll start with this one here. I'll tear off a little more of this. Let's see how that looks. I still want the words to show. And then I need to tear off a little bit more of this paper. And what I did was, this is a digital, and I just printed foxing on the back so it wouldn't be pure white. Now this one I'm going to take from the top because I want that edge. This is sort of handmade paper, and I just want it to have that raggedy edge. So let's see how this is going to go. There's that one. There's that one. Here's another one. And another one. And there's that. And then there's that on top. And let's see how it's going. Okay, and so we need to tear this one down quite a bit too. This is graph paper, and just like I did on the back of the digital, I ran it through my printer with foxing so that it would be have a fox look. Oh, I cut off too much of that, so now I have to go back and do this one again. So let me just do this. And this is the thing that's so perfect about Mary's scrappy pads. She just does this so perfectly, gets all the papers lined up so perfectly. Put that one there, that one there, that one there, that one there, that one there. And then here's my paper I mentioned in another video that I just really love. It is kids drawing paper that I find in my grocery store. I love it. It's the neatest, heaviest quality. It has sort of a gray tone to it. I'm gonna try printing on it. I haven't done that yet. I haven't tried printing on it yet. And then here's this last piece of music. Let me see. I don't wanna, let me see. I could do it right here. This is very crumbly paper, the music. So, okay, that looks sort of good. And that is a scrappy pad that I'm gonna make to go in there. I think I'm actually gonna put it here over the pocket with something in the pocket so that I can clip it with a bulldog clip here. And when I close it, the bulldog clip will be on the front, and we can take and secure our topper that we then also tie on. Let's see, let me get it going the right way. Here we go. like this. So that's basically how it's gonna work and what it's gonna look like. And when I get it all done, I'll do a little flip through, but I think it turned out using Nicola's tea rose. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got some ideas from that. And I really thank all of you for sharing part of your day with me and just watching and giving me a thumbs up and maybe even considering subscribing. Not that I expect to do anything much with monetarily from it, but it is fun. I think my videos get out there when there's lots of likes. So thanks everybody. Take care. Have a really nice evening.